The social media industry is a cutthroat mistress where feelings and relationships get thrown in the gutter in the pursuit of money and fame. It's a natural series of events that get played out across the content game, and no channel has felt this more than one of the most influential podcasts in the football space. Filthy Fellas was an idea born out of passion, aggressive debates, and years of graft. However, with so many people involved, it eventually led to the two founders forming into two factions and devolved into allegations of betrayal, theft, and disloyalty. So, how did one of the most popular football podcasts descend into civil war? But first, if you didn't know, we make weekly documentary videos here on this channel, and it would be awesome if you could drop a like and a sub to the channel so we can keep on pumping out these videos. And if you can't get enough, make sure to go follow me over on Spotify so you can watch and listen to my videos on the go. So with all that out of the way, let's get back into the video. Now, in order to understand who the Filthy Fellas are and how the civil war formed, you first have to understand who Poet is, because everything in this story flows through him. Real name Tyrell Kamani, Poet is one of the most recognisable figures in British football fan content. He built his profile from the ground up in the early years of YouTube as a presenter for the football brand Copper 90, alongside his best friend, Vooch. For years, their partnership culturally connected the fans to content, which allowed them to access high-profile individuals, players, and clubs. This allowed Poet to build a network and actively bring people from his circle and pull his friends up with him, putting faces on camera and getting them into rooms. One of these mates was called Specs Gonzalez, who is now hugely successful in his own right, but Poet explains how he got him involved in the industry.
Specs, you came out of prison. Within 3-4 months, you're doing a Vice doc, playing a DJ, meeting the whole Bayern Munich football team because of me and Vu. That's the reality I gave you. When I brought you on camera, you told me you never want to do this again. You got angry with me because you didn't know what you was doing, you said. And I watched it back and said, Specs, this is incredible.
So, shortly after Specs got out of prison, in 2014, Poet had a chance encounter with a guy called Tego Sigel at the Emirates Stadium in a box. The two connected over their shared love for football and urban culture. At the time, Poet had an idea for a weekly football talk show, and Tego was working as a creative director for the production company Rewind. So together, they turned the idea of the Filthy Fellas into a YouTube channel. To begin with, it was just a few friends shooting the shit talking about the previous week's results. But over the next 6 years, the show and the production level steadily increased. They rotated an ever-changing cast of social media personalities with people like Steve-O the Madman, Craig Mitch, Harry Panero, Savage Dan, and various others all becoming mainstays on the channel alongside the founders Poet and Tego. At this time, they had a solid fan base of around 60 to 100,000 views per episode, but couldn't really pay anyone because there were so many people involved and production costs were apparently covered by Rewind. But it was a symbiotic relationship because everyone on the show was building their own profiles outside of the podcast, which directly helped build the podcast popularity. However, in the 2019-2020 season, like the majority of media productions, the Filthy Fellas couldn't record in studio because of COVID. This, however, would arguably be the turning point for the channel, as Tego suggested that they resort to recording episodes over FaceTime. This resulted in them launching a new show called Filthy at 5, a live show that would go live at 5 PM weekdays during COVID. Now, surprisingly, this show actually gained momentum for the channel despite it all being virtual, and from 2021 on, when they managed to get back into the studio, they took what they learned from the COVID era and formulated it into a new style of show and sort of triggered a golden era. Hilarious moments and heated debates made episodes box office, and tie this to the exclusive player interviews, many of which went on to get over 1 million views. The channel wasn't just a YouTube channel anymore, it was starting to evolve into a brand. By 2022 and the years following, they emerged commercially with things like merch, brand deals, and live shows, which all went down incredibly well with their community. Now, Tego's company Rewind was behind the production of Filthy Fellas, but his company also handled the production of a number of other shows for brands, most notably JD. So with nobody on Filthy Fellas getting paid, no one really seemed to mind because Tego was getting them paid using the Filthy Fellas as talent in these branded videos. It was at this point where the symbiotic nature of the show was in full flow. Each of these guys had emerging social media careers in their own right, and the show was flourishing because of it. However, in July 2024, fans began to notice that Tego hadn't featured in 2 of the episodes, which was strange because he had been involved in every episode for years. This was then followed by a tweet from Poet that read, "Just to make it clear, Tego is not part of Filthy Fellas. Everyone, enjoy your day. Change your bio. Now, shortly after Poet's tweet, Tego posted to Instagram on the 7th of July, where he confirmed that he was no longer going to be part of Filthy Fellas. I wrote this message quite a few times in quite a few different ways, some in character, some very emotional, and some more blunt. But having had 2 weeks to process the idea that I'll no longer be involved in the show that I had produced and or hosted for all but 1 episode in 10 years, I only want to focus on the gratitude I have for everybody who believed in me, those who put their trust in me, those who ever came to me for advice, and those who delivered for me, whether it was on the show or one of the many other platforms we collaborated on over the years. I'm sorry if I let you down. I hope you know I only ever wanted the best for you. The statement does go on, but honestly, we'd be here all day if I read it all. But in the essay, he does go on to claim that mistakes were made, and the whole thing was left a bit up in the air as what had actually gone on. However, allegations quickly emerged that Tego had apparently been mismanaging or stealing money from the show, with some speculating as much as 200 grand. This all came to light as one of Stephen Bartlett's entities was looking to finalise an investment into the Filthy Fellas. This required viewing the financial records, which led to apparent irregularities being found. This apparently resulted in Tego being fired from the production company, hence his lack of appearances in episodes. So with the rumours and speculations circulating the internet, Tego addressed the situation head-on through a series of threads on Twitter that seemed to deny the allegations. There is a lot of misinformation flying around, so I'm going to clear some things up. Weird numbers and names being said and repeated. I never stole, I didn't scam. As raw as people must feel right now, I was not a personal beneficiary of any mismanagement. I tried my hardest to do for everybody on that show, and my priority was making sure the show survived. I paid out well over 500k to filthy talent in the last 4 years. I fought for everybody to earn. I prioritised them across my non-filthy projects and never felt like I was doing enough. In the thread, Tego also claimed that Filthies didn't become monetized until the summer of 2020, and when they did turn on the ads, they split everything equally, with Tego getting paid directly from YouTube and then Tego paying Poet. The next day, Tego posted another thread that included screenshots of his bank statements from 2020 to 2022 to prove that he'd been splitting the money equally. The thread also showed WhatsApp messages that showed their discussions about all of this during the chaos. During these threads, it was also uncovered that in January 2022, Tego changed the bank account linked to the channel from his personal account to his production company's account. This was because Tego claimed that they just handled the merch drop and 2 live shows and it was getting too much to handle. Now, this kind of left questions about what Tego had been doing with his half of the money, and although Tego owned Rewind Productions, so did a bloke called Nigel. And during his threads, he mentioned how they met with big companies that would have seen everyone get paid. But it also mentions how he wanted Filthy Fellas to be self-sufficient from Rewind, as he believed that there were people in his organisation who hadn't done enough to be considered part of that big money deal. Now, of course, Nigel wasn't happy with this and eventually got cut into the deal. Around this same time, a leaked voice recording emerged from the stream of Bound to Play Dirty, which revealed that Nigel and Poet didn't know that Tego was keeping the other half of the money and were pretty pissed off about it.
Yeah, so, alright, cool. So there was a period where the money was coming in and I was screenshotting how much it was and saying, Poet, here's half. Every single time. With the other half? It was obviously going into my account. Obviously going into my account.
Bro, just chatting shit. You fucking ruin relationships with Specs. Your ruin relationships with PK. It's never your fault. I'm pissed off. It's not your fault. Nigel's pissed off. It's not your fault. No, it's never your fault. Tego, today, you will learn it's your fucking fault.
Now, I want to give a huge shout out to the channel iJazz for his breakdown of this part of this situation, as he sifted through hours of content to locate the voice recording and piece together elements of this drama. So make sure to go check him out after this video. But a few weeks after this drama went down, Poet appeared in a podcast with Chucky Online, where Poet addressed the situation.
I tell you all of our job positions to say this. If I own Filthy, Rewind's owned by Nigel and the man in question at some point but isn't anymore, and then other guys are the staff members, if he got fired, how could I have done it? I didn't even employ you. You've never worked for me. You was never the boss of my company. You was never my direct business partner. You worked for a company and I was liaising with you for 10 years. So I will call you by your name. I will say thank you by your name. I'm not gonna say thank you, Rewind, if I'm talking to you. I'm gonna say thank you to you. Same way if I'm talking to you, EA Sports, and it's about HC Pod, I'm not gonna say thank you, HC Pod. I'm gonna say thank you, EA Sports, because I'm talking to you. And the conversations I have with you and how I will speak to you and show you the love, you shouldn't use that against me in the future to try and create a narrative. I was giving you love. And you mean to tell me the love that I was giving you, and you could see that way them conversations he's trying to expose, which that's just distasteful anyway. Ask other people in my life how much times they've got that message. Chucky, how much times have I phoned you or text you just to let you know how much special you are and how much I appreciate you?
Regular.
EA Sports, this is a regular thing. So you're gonna isolate one situation to create a narrative. Not today. Not 3 day, not 4 day, not 5 day. It's not happening, geezer. So that we can't create that narrative. So now, him not being there has got nothing to do with me. I'm just simply the messenger. Read the tweet. 10 years from now, you won't feel bad about the tweet. But robbery, you'll feel bad about.
Now, what made this whole predicament even more interesting was that one of the show's most popular talents was also missing. Specs hadn't been seen in multiple episodes, but despite all the drama, the Filthy Fellas continued on as usual. However, some fans felt like the show got a little bit more chaotic without Tego, as he usually moderated discussions. However, in January 2025, Tego actually made a comeback with a new podcast called From My Left. The first upload was a video addressing some of the questions fans had about the Filthy Fellas situation.
Of Yusuf Abdullah 5445, who had a very, very well-liked comment on the video that I'm just gonna rattle through before we get into the juicy stuff. Did you steal money from Filthy or the panel? No. Why did Specs, Miles and PK leave the show for all the stuff about the money came out? Not speaking for another man, nothing to do with you. They ain't speaking, nothing to do with you. How do you feel about the guys on Filthy now? Are you still friends or do you even talk? I talk to most of the people on Filthy. They're my brothers, they'll be my brothers forever. I love them. They know that they can rely on me whenever they need me. That will never change.
The first actual podcast on the channel revealed the panelists, reuniting Tego with Specs and Miles Farron, which made fans speculate, as Specs hadn't been seen for months and now popped up out of nowhere to work with Tego on his new channel. As the weeks progressed, Geordie Innit, another member of the Filthy Fellas, switched alliances to Tego's new channel. Now, around this same time, Specs appeared on a number of podcasts where now he accused Poet of misusing funds and revealed that he wasn't getting paid for his No Rules show on their channel.
What happened, with the situation at Filthy Fellas?
I was on there for 10 years, and then I had a show called No Rules Show, and then I realized that, oh, YouTube pay. So I asked the Poet, I've been getting paid for the last 10 years, where's my money? And he played Steve Wonder. He said that he didn't know that money was going in his account.
So, with it all now seeming even more murky than it was before, and still a lot of confusion about what completely happened between Poet, Tego and Specs, on the 6th of February 2026, Specs appeared on a podcast where he addressed leaving Filthy Fellas.
I decided to leave Filthy Fellas. That was a time where I wanted to actually have a serious conversation with the audience about how my thinking was. But I didn't. And the thing is that when I say be serious in terms of I wanted people to know why.
Yeah.
Because Filthy Fellas was something that was huge in my life. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I remember when I left February 14th, 2023, I think it was. I didn't want to write a statement. And it wasn't it's not one of them ones where I left because this person. It's not even them ones. I wanted people to understand my logic, what I want to do now from here on. And yeah, I pulled out of that because I was worried that if I do that, because perception.
Yeah.
How you say something doesn't mean that they're going to take it the way you're saying it.
Absolutely.
They might take it elsewhere and it could affect others.
Yeah.
And I want everyone I don't want to be that guy that brings the ship down. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I just chose to I didn't say nothing. And then no one knew. And then bare things started coming out. And then it's just, I'm like, how am I here?
Yeah.
Damn, I should have told them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's probably the only time. That's the only time that kind of if I could go back, I should have done that. But we move.
A few months later, on the 29th of May 2026, Poet appeared on the Winners Talking podcast, where he went on to discuss his rift with Specs, claiming that he was a slave to the pound note, and also went on to share that he was experiencing personal and family struggles at the time that it all went down with Tego.
I haven't really had a break, Pound, since COVID. No, I'm sure everyone, you know what I'm saying? Everyone goes through it, but it's I don't know. 2019, just before COVID, Copper 90 fired me for something I told him not to do. And then they end up rehiring me a day later. This is April 2019. And I end up walking away in July 2019. So I was like, nah, scrap this. You've treated me like some idiot. I told you not to do something because you're trying to take a pot of money from a group of people that you've never even shown that you deserve that pot of money. I told you I don't want to be a part of this. This is not the way I work. The way I work is whatever I genuinely feel my heart gravitates to, I show the world this is what I want to do. So that way, when it comes to doing works or getting money, I've shown I'm meant to get this or I'm meant to be here. And obviously big corporations, they don't work like that. They don't give a damn, they just want to make money. And then next thing I'm getting killed for something I didn't even suggest. So that proper, that hurt me and I thought, we get over it. Then a year later after that, I can't find my picnic. Oh my God. Yeah. And certain things that are detrimental, losing your job, especially in this space, it is hard because all of a sudden that becomes a permanent tattoo, which is not a true reflection of you, but you end up losing money, you lose jobs, you lose so much, so then you've got to sort of recover. So I thought, just as I think I'm recovering from that, I've got to take a step out because I don't even know where my children are. That's 2020. And by 2021, I've got family members trying to attack me in public. I'm like, this is too much. By 2022, my dad's dying of cancer. By 2023, my dad's died. By 2024, my cousins died and my uncles died. Do you know what I'm saying? By 2024, Tego's robbed me. So it's just like, I just need, like with me personally, I've done about other people, but when detrimental things happen, like losing an incredible job like Copper 90, we've done a lot of great things. So having to walk away from that, that's not easy, bro. And then my children, they're my heart, bro. I had to stop doing content to go and look for them. And then you've got, so by the time it's come down to people just dragging my name, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Specs, I can tell you quite comfortably, there is Poet without Specs, but there potentially isn't Specs in this form without Poet. Doesn't mean Specs wouldn't have been something later on. Of course he would have. The guy is super talented, but people need to take the time to stand next to you to help you coach your talent.
Yeah, I hear it.
I'm Poet. So if I stand next to you for 1 year, that is marketing. What are you talking about, bro? Like, I'm just keeping it real. 2016,
No, I hear it.
you're
Keep it
not,
real.
I'm Poet. 2026, I'm Poet. 2012, I'm Poet. So if you're not, in 2016, if you're your government name and I'm standing next to you, I am marketing you, my guy. Then on top of that, I'm not just standing next to you at parties and I'm bringing you to places as if to say I'm your agent. I'm getting you situations to manifest, and that's helping your product, that's helping your brand, that's helping more people work with you because they can go, he works with Poet. And I don't care, I'm telling you, yeah, all for that. So where we are today, it makes no sense to me, but it makes sense to him because I get it. There's loads of people, and he's not the only one. Loads of these guys, they just sat down and said, I want that position, and when I get it, this is what I'm gonna do. And when they get it, all they think about is themselves.
So essentially, he wasn't paying Specs, and Specs went where he was getting paid. Story of Poet's life. I made you, so you owe me forever. Allow it. During this same interview, Poet also discussed his beef with Alhan. Now, Alhan and Poet go way back, with Alhan being helped early on in his career by Poet and even featured on the Copper 90 show all those years back. Now, Alhan, who's a hugely successful creator himself, hosted a show alongside Poet called Gasworks. This show then took a hiatus and returned a few weeks ago in a new format called Alhan FM, with Alhan now hosting the show by himself and joking about Poet not returning.
I thought to myself, raw, I was watching a show called GJ News with Snoop Dogg, and I said, we should do a show like that. And you was a 16-year-old kid at Radar Radio, 16, 17-year-old kid at Radar Radio that I don't know. I have no affiliation to. And you asked me, oh, we should do something together. So I gave it an opportunity, and we done a show on Radar Radio for 2 episodes. I then brought you a concept that became Gasworks. You gave it the name, the whole concept I gave you, the type of guests we should get, all of that. And then years later, you used the same concept and cussed me. These are, no disrespect, these are weird people. Very weird people. And I try to avoid and ignore all of it because I can understand online, truth is like 5% of, it's about what's the most entertaining. And I can appreciate as I get older, and I have more invested interest in looking after my children. I don't live in this country, so I've got to do a lot of work. And obviously, with my dad dying now for 3 years, I've got to look after my mom, I've got to look after my sister, and then I've got the responsibility of looking after Filthy. I just got so much responsibility. Maybe that childish sort of I take everything for a joke has left me now, just because I've just got more real life stuff. So when I take a look at an individual, like I said, little Turkish boy, 16, 17 years old, I recognize how important the Turkish community are in North London. So I think I want to upscale this. And then years later, you're now trying to disrespect me because everyone else does it and it looks cool and it's a way to look trendy online. Let's disrespect Poet. Brother, you're another guy I brought you through black culture. You're Turkish. The reason why you've had to go to the commercial world is because you can't survive here by yourself. You try to, but essentially a Turkish man can't live in black culture. The same way I can't go and open up a Turkish shop and expect everyone to come there on green lanes. I respect the differences. I don't try and embody the differences. When everyone goes, oh, Alhan's done so much for the culture. What culture are you speaking about? Maybe for Turkish culture, and I want him to, but there's not one Turkish man that can do anything for black culture. Only black people can do things for black culture. So I don't understand those things, but I have no problem with him. I just think they're weird. I think they're in weird spaces and they keep doing things to disrespect me and I just don't know why. When I see Alhan, he pretends he can't see me and walks another. This is all weird stuff to me.
The guy who's beefing bare different guys is usually the problem. Man said if you have a Rolls, you ain't part of the culture. Then remembered his Lord and Saviour Skepta also has a Rolls Royce. Lol. A few days later on the 2nd of June, Specs appeared on Alhan's podcast where they both hilariously addressed their situations with Poet.
Bro, when I was 16, 17, I was gassed to be working with Poet. Are you crazy? Of course that's a massive cosign for me and I'm gassed. But that doesn't mean I got to tolerate your bullshit now that I'm 25, 26, 27. 100%. It doesn't work like that. And also, just because you've done something for us, it doesn't mean you fucking own us, brother. If you were savvy, you would have made an agency and everyone that you brought through, you could have signed them. I sat down with him. I said, bro, why don't you set up an agency? Because if you don't, someone else will.
It would have been a sick agency, you know.
Everyone would have, I would have signed to that.
1.4 million lives.
Yeah, 1.4 million.
Management. would have been class.
Every invoice.
He's a very good liar.
He's amazing. Bro. He's amazing. It's sad to see.
Like my daughter right now in Dubai, she's hanging around with a lot of rich friends that are wearing designers, and I keep saying to her, you wear fake designers, but you lie at it and say it's real. But she can't do it, and I wish Poet was in her life right now to show her how to lie. But guy's terrific.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
And it works.
Yeah, well, it's working. It's working.
There's people that believe this stuff.
Yeah, but it's all right. They're gonna see this now.
Alhan, I used to love going on Filthy. You know what I mean? I used to go and do my jokes there. Like, Filthy plays a big part in, obviously, this whole thing. Nobody can tell me. I weren't going to be here anyway.
Yeah, no.
I would have probably met Robbie. Yeah. I probably would have met Alhan. I probably would have met Chucks. I would have met somebody else anyway. Because my disrespect joke stuff started, I'd say when my mum passed away when I was 10, that's when the joke started. I didn't give a shit. Because that day when she passed, I just wanted to watch Arsenal. And I didn't even know Poet then, but he made me. You made me. Get out of here, man. Let me tell you something about Poet. You walk with him down the street, he would just run. Someone would chase him. They never understood why. Like, why is Poet getting?
He stamps.
What?
He stamps.
He's fast.
Yeah, he is.
He's fast. Wait, why are you running? That guy did this. That guy done that. Stay away from that guy. His brother. I thought his brother was the bad guy. You know his brother's the one that owns Full Fellas.
What, Kirk?
Yeah, Full Fellas is his. Poet won't tell Pounds that though.
Well, the YouTube channel, he made it, right?
Full Fellas is Kirk's. How about that?
Big up Kirk as well.
And after all this, Tego robbed me and Specs is this Alhan's that whatever cool. No Russo is still on his channel with ads on right now.
But it's not monetized. Apparently it's not monetized. You can't get paid because it's not monetized.
I'm Poet.
But also, let's put it like this, yeah? How can someone turn up to Filthy Fellas and say, oh, it's not monetized, and blame someone else? My brother, you've been in the content game longer than us, yeah? You've been doing Copper 90, been knowing how YouTube and monetization works. How are you willingly appearing on a channel every single week and accepting the fact that it's not being monetized? If that is the case, which I highly doubt that is really the case, wouldn't you be asking questions? What are you turning up every week for free? So it's charity. So you can't be mad at anyone, really.
Bro,
I don't get it. But let's talk about Filthy, yeah? What actually happened there? Because he chats about, can you break that down? Because I don't actually think anyone's heard your side of the story.
I said it 10 times, okay? I fell out with Tego first. Then I fell out with Poet. But this was just between us three. Then I go in the group, I fall out with both of them.
The group being the whole Filthy Fellas group, yeah?
Filthy Fellas group.
Okay.
They're gonna deny this as well because they want to look a certain way, which is fine. Who cares? This is just YouTube. It's not that deep, right? I go in the group and I attack both of them. Everyone knows me in WhatsApp groups. My head goes, I attack everyone, yeah? I'm attacking these two. Tego starts backing Poet. I'm pressuring Poet.
Really, yeah?
Poet, show us the files.
So it was actually Tego and Poet against you?
Yes, that's what it started.
Wow.
On my kids. It's a commotion in the group. There's meetings here and there. Then Poet tells Tego to remove his name from the bio on Twitter, remember? Remember that tweet?
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So he kicks...
Well, while this is going on?
While this is going on. But it's again...
But Tego was on his side.
Again, 1.4 million likes. It's a great move. Because now I'm like, oh, cool. Poet's thinking, right, people can't catch me out. So when Specs calls me and be like, what's going on? I'm not seeing my kids. Because that's what he says to me.
Yeah,
every time Poet's in the corner and he's under pressure, but I'm not seeing my kids. Or he tells me something about his dad. It's got nothing to do with the situation.
You can't, yeah.
It's got nothing to do with the situation.
To be honest, we've all got things going on in our personal lives.
No. When Poet's dad passed, my dad passed.
Yeah.
What now? It's 1-0. It's 1-0. My dad passed as well. I left now. I left. My head was gone. Filthy Fellas will tell you this, bro. I was out for 1 year. Because from I left started a year after I left, bro.
Yeah.
I then had a meeting with Poet before I had a meeting with Tego to come back. Do you remember when Poet went out and said Specs is coming back? We had a meeting. I didn't say I was coming back, by the way. But that's one of these 1.4 million likes, of course. T-shirts out now.
SpexGonzalez.com.
I had a meeting with Poet. I said, Poet, going forward, shareholding. Like, how can we do things?
Nah. He doesn't want a contract, brother.
Same again. Bro, you know what? I need to go Sweden and do this and that. Just start talking about kids and that again.
Yeah. Don't forget the roster.
Then I had a meeting with Tego. I said, Tego shareholding. Now, if you go on Company House, you see Tego, Specs, Miles, Jordy.
Yeah, clean.
We're all shareholders, bro. That's it. It's not that deep. And really and truly, we should still be working together. But Poet wants to live by this lie and this image of Dr. Umar Johnson or whoever wants to be Damon Dash. I don't know what Poet is. I don't know who's influenced Poet, but it's fine. He wants to do this. Cool. So now there's this fake split. Bro.
Yes.
But the problem is just him.
But the thing is, so why haven't any of the Filthy guys come onto From My Left?
Because they don't want it to look bad. They don't want the Poet to look bad. Because Poet, remember, do the maths. Poet is doing these ones. Like, I made you, man.
Yeah, you can't go over there. How dare you?
So the man, I'm like, I can't upset him. Yeah. Fucking. What do you mean?
So, with Poet now sort of looking like he's got egg on his face, managing to attract beef from multiple different angles, it's less than ideal. Poet is obviously a talented guy, but as we can see from this video, his words both make him his money and cause him to attract drama. Today, the Filthy Fellas remains a healthy channel with regular viewership, adapting to its semi-new lineup and keeping the culture entertained. Meanwhile, Tego's new venture, From My Left, is rapidly developing in its own lane, and despite the many storylines that interweave this story, at the the heart of it, the Filthy Fellas Civil War is a classic tale of what happens when a passion project morphs into a multi-million-pound business. What started as a group of friends just shooting the shit in the studio over their love of football eventually crumbled under the weight of commercial success, corporate investments, and unaligned expectations. When the money got serious, the brotherhood got tested, and ultimately it fractured. Well, if you've made it this far, I really do appreciate you watching. If you're new here, make sure to drop a like and a sub to the channel, follow me over on Instagram at FatMema, and comment below what you want to see next. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.